Stacy Smith joining us right now, former CFO at Intel, and a big fancy title now. But this is something you've been overlooking, the capital expenditures of Intel, for a long time, Stace. And I wonder, the big question, is this new spending, is this incremental on the $11 billion that was expected for 2017 already?
So it's in our capital forecast for this year, but it will be the next big factory that we build. And as you know, Cory, it takes several years to build it. What we announced today is that our next big factory is going to be built in Chandler, Arizona. It's going to be the most advanced semiconductor factory on the planet, and it's a massive investment. It's over time will be $7 billion of capex. It'll create 3,000 high-wage, high-tech jobs working directly for us, and probably 10,000 jobs in the community supporting the factory. So it's an enormous investment, and it points to how we're growing and how we've transformed the company.
A huge deal, and obviously 7 nanometer there. Now the building's basically already built. Is that right? That's building 42?
Yeah. So we have a shell that is been in essence mothballed. There's some work still to complete the shell. We'll be starting that this year, and then we build it out over the next few years.
So Analyst Day today, of course, I would imagine that's one of the reasons you kind of want to get that news out there today. But I wonder, in terms of that, is this a change, because it's still unclear to me, is this a change in your CapEx guidance for 2017 and into 2018?
No. This is already included in our capital forecast for this year. And our Analyst Day, as you said, is actually tomorrow, and so we'll be talking about things like capital intensity and things like that there. But this is included in the CapEx forecast for this year.
So, in terms of this kind of spending, why is it that Intel has these, all these fabs in the U.S. and a concentration already in the U.S. for manufacturing? Is it about security and trade secrets, or what is it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, if you think about our footprint as a company, so first, just to put us in perspective, we tend to be, among, 1, 2, or 3 in the world in terms of our capital spending every year, or 1, 2, or 3 in the world in terms of our R&D every year. So we're huge. The majority of that investment is in the U.S. We do invest all over the world, but the majority of it is here in the U.S. And the reasons that we invest in the U.S. is, first and foremost, we can hire great people here. We have really good infrastructure, and we have access to worldwide markets. So while we build our capacity in the U.S., 80% of our sales are outside the U.S. So that's really important to us. We do all that against a disincentive of, the U.S. has among the highest tax rates in the world, and so we're actually disadvantaged relative to our competitors in Korea or Taiwan, and that's a place where we're obviously working closely with the administration to try to get a more pro-investment policy such that it makes more sense for us to continue to make these kinds of investments here.
Is $8 billion about the price tag on a fab these days, on a top-of-the-line fab for Intel?
Yeah, so we're starting with a shell that's been built. We have some work to do on the shell, and then to outfit it and get it, into full production is another $7 billion. I'd say if we were starting from, just a piece of land, you're probably in excess of $10 billion to build one of these factories.
Wow.
So
and time horizon,
really
what's the typical time horizon? It's I visited a fab up in Hillsboro probably 2 years ago, and it's just jaw-dropping. Yeah, and I wonder, though, in terms of the time that it takes. Okay, you've got the shell, but if, again, you were to start with sort of vacant land to completing this kind of fab, how long does that take?
Yeah, it's kind of from start to finish, depending on where you are, whether you have a shell or not, it's, 3 to 4 years. It could actually be a little bit more than 4 years. To put it in perspective, in addition to the direct employment that we're creating for Intel, these are among the largest construction projects on the planet. And as you said, this one already has a shell. We will still have 3,000 construction employees getting this thing, ready for production. They're just enormous, and the impact they have on communities is also enormous.
When it strikes me, there's some irony, perhaps. Here you have Intel, where Andy Grove, himself, sort of a refugee and a founder of Intel, on the same time that the Federal District Court in San Francisco, right here in the Bay Area, is debating this immigration ban. And then you have Brian Krasanich, your CEO, at the White House today with President Trump. And I wonder, how much does Intel need immigrant labor and even labor from refugees around the world? How important has it been to Intel historically, and how important is it today?
Yeah, so it's very important for us to be able to hire the best talent all around the world. The task that we have, the R&D that we do, is among the most. We're solving the most complex problems on the planet. You know, to put this in perspective, though, you should understand Intel is not political. We engage with Democratic administrations, we engage with Republican administrations, and depending on the issue, you know, in some places we agree. So here we're in agreement around what they're trying to do around the tax and investment policy. In other places we disagree in issues around immigration and being able to hire the best talent. And we've made that clear to the administration as well. So we engage on issues, not necessarily down political lines. And our issues are investment, being able to hire the best talent, being able to build in the U.S. and export all around the world, and make the kinds of investments that make us a great company.
Talk to me about Intel's use of H-1B visas and how important that is to you, and if that could be simpler than it has been in the past.
Yeah, again, it comes back to that just simple concept of we need to be able to hire the best talent in the world. And as you know, in many cases, the PhDs, you have people that come in from overseas to get PhDs in math and science areas, and those are the people that come in and make Intel a great company. So what we'd like to see in the H-1B space is that a higher proportion of those visas are being used for the most high-skilled technical people, and it's one of the places I know that Brian's engaging with the administration to make our point of view known.
Do you know how many you guys use, or what percentage of the program you use right now?
I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I know that we'd like to see a larger proportion of overall H-1B visas going into, as I said, the highest skilled areas, but what those numbers are, I don't know.